I've never really let them affect me that much, but like Adam said, take it with criticism as well and see if there's anything that you need to look into or apply. Like, you're getting real-time feedback from people.
They had everything. The cars, the fame, the sponsors. Adam LZ and Collete Davis were the golden couple of automotive YouTube. But behind the matching Instagram stories and carefully crafted breakup statements, something far more explosive was waiting to come out. What started as a seemingly amicable split has now unraveled into one of the most talked-about controversies in the car community. And the details that have emerged since then have left fans shocked, confused, and desperate for answers. The announcement that nobody saw coming. For those who do not know, Adam LZ is one of the biggest names in automotive content creation. With nearly 3.9 million subscribers on YouTube and over 1 billion lifetime views, he has built an empire around drifting, car builds, and documenting his journey from BMX rider to professional Formula Drift competitor. His channel has become a blueprint for how to turn a passion for cars into a legitimate career. He represents the dream that so many young enthusiasts have. Collete Davis was right there with him through it all. She was not just his girlfriend, but a pro Formula Drift driver herself, a content creator in her own right, and a significant part of what made their combined brand so appealing to fans. Together, they seemed unstoppable. They were living proof that you could have it all in the automotive world. To understand why this situation hurts so much, you need to understand what they built together over the years. You need to understand what fans thought they were watching versus what was actually happening behind closed doors. For nearly half a decade, Adam LZ and Collete Davis were the undisputed power couple of automotive YouTube. They were not just dating. They were a machine. A cross-promotional empire that combined their audiences, their sponsors, their content, and their entire lifestyles into one massive brand that seemed unstoppable. Collete once talked in an interview about how their relationship was unique because they were both so deeply invested in the same world. She said they would fight over car space and build space in the shop, but that was not the worst thing in the world. She believed it made them stronger as a couple. She believed it made them understand each other better than any normal couple could. For years, you would see them in each other's vlogs constantly, standing by the start line at competitions, holding umbrellas for each other in the rain, celebrating wins together, consoling each other after losses. They shared absolutely everything, and fans loved every minute of it. Then, just days ago, that dream officially ended with 2 matching Instagram stories. They posted nearly identical announcements. The text was clearly written by a PR team, or at least heavily reviewed by one. They claimed they simply grew in different directions over time. They insisted there was absolutely no drama involved. It was all very clean and corporate, and exactly what you would expect from 2 people trying to protect their brands. Most people bought it. The comment sections were filled with supportive messages. People said they were handling it maturely. People said it seemed like a healthy way to end things. It looked like the closing of a long chapter handled with grace and dignity. Adam stayed completely quiet after the announcement. He stuck to the agreed script. But Collete? She had other plans that nobody saw coming. 3 words that changed everything. This is where the story takes a turn that absolutely nobody expected. This is the moment that transformed a sad breakup into a full-blown scandal that has the entire drifting community talking. A random fan on TikTok left a comment speculating that Collete had cheated on Adam. Now, in the world of online breakups, This is unfortunately a very common accusation. When couples split up on the internet, the woman is often unfairly blamed by the mob. It happens all the time. Most people in Colete's position would just ignore a comment like this, maybe delete it, maybe block the person, and definitely move on with their life. Collete did neither of those things. Instead, she replied directly to the comment. And she did not just defend herself against the accusation, she completely flipped the entire table with 3 simple words that sent shockwaves through the community. Opposite, actually. She followed it with a facepalm emoji for emphasis. We need you to stop and really think about what those words mean. Opposite, actually. In just 2 words, she did not simply deny cheating on Adam. She squarely placed the blame directly on him. She implied in the clearest possible way that he was the one who stepped out on their relationship. He was the one who betrayed the trust. He was the one who did something wrong. This single comment transformed what looked like a sad but ultimately amicable breakup into a full-blown scandal with potential cheating allegations at the center. It suggests that the carefully crafted no-drama statement was nothing more than a corporate cover-up designed to protect their brands and their sponsorships. The reality of what happened behind closed doors was apparently messy and painful, and someone got hurt very badly in the process. And the timing of her comment was absolutely not accidental. It came right as Adam was celebrating recent content successes and trying to move forward with his life and his channel. By dropping this bomb in a TikTok comment section, she effectively pulled the emergency brake on his victory lap. She forced every single fan to look back at his behavior over the past few months with a microscope. Was there a new person in the background of his videos? Was the solo time he talked about really solo? Was there someone else entering the picture while they were still together? Suddenly, every single video he posted in the last few months looked completely different to fans who were now searching for clues. The internet saw it coming. Here is the thing you need to understand about the internet. It is absolutely undefeated when it comes to spotting celebrity breakups before they are officially announced. The fans always know first. The Reddit detectives on the Haggard Garage and drifting subreddits had this breakup called months ago. They saw it coming from a mile away. And when you look at the evidence they compiled, it is almost embarrassing how obvious the warning signs were to anyone paying close attention. The first major sign was what fans call the digital scrubbing. In the influencer world, your relationship is content. Your partner appears in your videos. You post photos together. You tag each other in stories. If you suddenly stop posting your partner, you are definitely hiding something. For months, leading up to the official announcement, Adam and Collete completely stopped appearing in each other's videos. Adam was always solo at the shop in his content. Collete was always traveling somewhere else or working on her own projects in different locations. The crossover episodes that fans loved completely stopped happening. The playful banter they used to have on Twitter totally disappeared. They did not just drift apart naturally. They actively ghosted their own audience and hoped nobody would notice. Fans also noticed very specific physical evidence in their content. The ring Collete often wore in videos, suddenly gone from her hand. The cars that used to be parked next to each other at the compound moved to completely different locations. The background details of their Instagram stories showed them in different places for weeks at a time with no overlap whatsoever. Reddit users were even tracking their travel patterns and flights. When Adam flew to LA, Collete was staying in Florida. When he was in Florida, she was in Europe for events. They were actively dodging each other geographically, despite technically living on the same compound. That takes serious effort and serious motivation to avoid someone that deliberately. Then there was the LZ World Tour in New Zealand. This was supposed to be a massive event for Adam. A huge international trip with tons of content opportunities. Initially, the plan included Collete being there as part of the tour. But when the time actually came, she was a complete no-show. The excuse given was vague at best. Something about scheduling conflicts or needing to focus on car prep. But in hindsight, it is crystal clear that she simply did not want to be trapped on the other side of the world with someone who may have wronged her deeply. They had to replace her spot with another driver at the absolute last minute. That kind of frantic behind-the-scenes scrambling absolutely screams that something went very wrong in that relationship. Now that we have all this context, let me take you back to Englishtown one more time. Because everything that happened there makes so much more sense when you understand what was really going on. The ice-cold weekend. Formula Drift is a tight-knit traveling circus. These drivers spend almost every weekend together during the season. They pit next to each other. They eat meals together. They support each other through the incredible highs and the crushing lows of professional competition. For years, the LZ and Collete pits were absolutely inseparable at every single event. You literally could not find one without the other being nearby. But at Englishtown, the vibe was ice-cold from the very first moment they arrived at the venue. The separated parking situation was not just some logistical issue. It was deeply symbolic of where they were as a couple. They deliberately created physical distance to match the emotional chasm that had formed between them. Fans walking through the paddock that weekend noticed immediately that something was very wrong. There were no shared Instagram stories, no jokes between their crews, no cameos in each other's content. They were effectively complete strangers wearing different team colors at the same event. When Collete crashed hard and Adam did not rush to her side, that was not professionalism. That was not focus. That was the aftermath of something terrible. You do not ignore your partner of 5 years crashing their car in a potentially dangerous accident unless you are actively trying to stay as far away from them as humanly possible. Unless the relationship has become so toxic that you cannot even pretend to care anymore. And when he stood on that victory podium spraying champagne with his team, without her anywhere by his side, the message was painfully clear to everyone watching. They could not even fake it for the cameras anymore. The resentment and the pain and the anger were so thick between them that it physically pushed them to opposite ends of the entire venue. Fans started whispering among themselves immediately. Where is Collete during all of this? Why did Adam not check on her after that terrifying crash? Why are they not parking together like they always have? The cracks in their relationship were wide open for everyone to see, but neither of them said a single word about it. They just posted their generic content, ignored every question in the comments, and hoped the whole situation would eventually blow over. It absolutely did not blow over. It exploded. The good guy image crumbles. For years, Adam LZ has carefully cultivated his image as the good guy of automotive YouTube, the hard-working creator who built everything from nothing, the generous friend who helps other people in the community, the guy who just genuinely wants to drive cars and share his passion with the world. His massive audience loved him specifically because he seemed so authentic and real compared to other influencers. But Collete's accusation threatens to crack that carefully polished image wide open in front of millions of fans. We actually saw something somewhat similar play out years ago with his divorce from his first wife, Nicole. Rumors and speculation swirled through the community for a long time after that marriage ended. But here is the crucial difference this time. Back then, the accusations were coming from random anonymous people on Reddit forums. This time, the call is coming from inside the house. It is Collete herself deliberately dropping these breadcrumbs for fans to follow. The opposite actually comment is the key that potentially unlocks a massive treasure trove of questions that fans are only just now beginning to sort through and investigate. And the deafening silence from Adam's camp since that comment went viral has been absolutely telling. Usually, he is extremely quick to address rumors or concerns. He will laugh things off in a vlog. He will make a joke about it on social media. But on this specific accusation, complete radio silence. Not a single word of denial or explanation. That hesitation speaks volumes about the situation. It strongly suggests he knows he is walking on incredibly thin ice right now. Think about the impossible position he finds himself in. If he denies the accusation publicly, Collete might have receipts ready to share. Screenshots of messages, photos, proof of whatever happened. If he continues to ignore it, the rumor only solidifies into accepted fact in the minds of millions of fans. It is a complete lose-lose situation, and it represents the first real visible crack in the LZ empire that we have seen in many years. People are now going back through his recent content with completely fresh eyes, looking for any evidence they missed. Adam started posting videos that felt noticeably different in the months leading up to the breakup announcement. The content was more back to the roots and solo-focused, more centered on hanging out with the boys late at night, more chaotic shop sessions that ran until the early morning hours. It felt exactly like watching single Adam content from 2016 before he was in any serious relationship. At the time, fans assumed it was just a creative shift in his content direction. Now, with all this new context, it looks a lot more like a distraction. Like a man desperately trying to bury himself in work projects to avoid dealing with the reality of what he may have done to his relationship. Here is the thing you need to understand about breaking up when you are a major internet celebrity. It is not just about the broken heart and the emotional pain. It is very much about the money and the business relationships too. The business fallout. Adam LZ and Collete Davis were never just a normal couple enjoying their relationship. They were a business partnership, a cross-promotional content machine that combined sponsors and audiences and infrastructure in ways that benefited them both massively. They shared absolutely everything in their professional lives, and now someone has to figure out how to completely untangle all of those connections. The girlfriend of Adam LZ label is an incredibly heavy tag to carry in this industry. It opens certain doors and creates opportunities, sure, but it also seriously discredits your individual talent and accomplishments. People automatically assume Adam is the one paying for the tires, paying for the gas, paying for the cars, funding everything behind the scenes. By choosing to split from him, Collete is now facing a massive financial reality check. She has to prove to her sponsors and to the entire drifting world that she is a completely viable investment entirely on her own merits. Her recent posts emphasizing that she runs her own program are a direct and deliberate response to all the trolls who say she will go completely broke without Adam's money backing her. She is actively fighting for her career credibility and her reputation while simultaneously dealing with the emotional fallout of whatever actually happened between them. While Adam went into obvious distraction mode with late-night builds and boys' content, Collete went into complete overdrive with her independent woman personal branding. She started heavily emphasizing in every post that she owns all of her own cars. She runs her entire program herself. She absolutely does not need any man to fund her racing career or her dreams. At the time when she was posting this content, It looked like inspiring empowerment messaging for her female fans. Now, looking back with full context, it seems much more like she was carefully preparing the battlefield before the war went public. She was making absolutely sure that when the breakup news finally dropped, nobody in the community could possibly say she was only successful because of her famous boyfriend. The real truth about what happened behind closed doors in this relationship has only just started to leak out into public view. We are likely still in the very early stages of this story unfolding. Adam's complete radio silence on the accusations, Colete's obvious defensive wall building in her content, the months and months of geographic avoidance at events, the ice-cold Formula Drift weekend at Englishtown. Every single piece of evidence we have examined points directly to something far darker and more painful than two people simply growing apart over time. The opposite actually comment lit the fuse on this powder keg. But the full explosion has definitely not detonated yet. There is almost certainly more to come. Whatever receipts and evidence Collete may be holding on to, whatever Adam knows, she knows about the situation. This story is absolutely far from over. For years, they gave us the dream content, the beautiful cars, the exciting racing, the relationship goals that made fans envious. Now, we are all watching the nightmare version unfold in real time across social media. One thing is absolutely certain going forward. The drifting world and the YouTube car community will never look at either of them quite the same way again after this. And somewhere out there right now, Collete is rebuilding her life and her career, starting completely fresh, proving to the entire world that she was never just the girlfriend. She was always the driver. She was always the competitor. She was always her own person. The only question that remains now is simple. What will Adam do when the silence finally becomes too loud to ignore any longer? What are your thoughts on this power couple's breakup? Share your thoughts in the comments.